much better. More adaptation. Here we go. Let's see how it does develop, because Echo Fox very happy to start it off with a win. And NRG, this will probably spur them on to be a little bit more risky with their play.
They definitely can be. They saw that they weren't able to be punished all that often. We also know that NRG saw that Malzahar was the first pick and that their intended counter pick of Ziggs did not work very well for them.
Honestly,
the Gnar takeaway
yeah, that Zig could have been any other champion in that game. There's not really a single thing that he did that was...
Oh, wow.
Wouldn't be... that would call for another pick of it.
Is this the Gnar first pick now that Gangplank's off the table? I'm trying to think about the solutions that, you know, Echo Fox wants to bring in here, because they were happy to first pick Malzahar before. And looking at, you know, the bans from the previous time as well.
Gangplank like, is the one that's changed. So.
Right, Vlad's still gone. The Xerath, I guess, is now on the table. Soraka's still the ban as well. So Anivia left up for Froggen. Of course, he doesn't have to play Malzahar or anything now, right? He gets to play the Anivia whenever he wants it. And again, with the Gangplank ban coming through, I want to see if that is actually going to be Gnar for Echo Fox.
Does he feel confident blind picking it? Quas previously, when given that option, playing into Gnar, chose the Jax versus Cloud9, and they were not victorious in that game.
Yeah, and of course it's nice for Echo Fox. They're able to see what NRG had picked in that situation. In fact, the Rek'Sai will go over, which is interesting because that was picked second round blue side. It wasn't even that high priority of a champion. NRG let it slip last time around. So NRG does the exact same first round picks.
Yeah, I guess he really does not want to play Gragas anymore, because previously he had been just fine with taking whichever one of those falls to your pick order. But looks like that's been one of the big changes in Echo Fox strategy, is really want to get him on that Rek'Sai. You know, a lot easier to maneuver and command, you know, perform what you need in those team fights.
Sure. But
it does give up, you know, that opportunity cost we talked about. Gnar over to Quas once again, and no longer does KFO have the Gangplank choice. He still can go Aurelia. Hey, I always say it, he can still go the Yasuo.
Yes.
Nobody has done it in North America for a really long time.
And actually, people discovered a new Yasuo build that makes a lot of sense as well. You do the Trinity Force Sterix tanky Yasuo, which is actually his highest win rate build, which means it's probably going to get nerfed at some point, but he's actually going to go for Shen in the matchup instead. We have seen Shen support. I don't think that's likely. But also, I feel like people liked playing Gnar into Shen.
Exactly. Shen definitely doesn't have the best matchup there, but it is more about that global pressure. And KFO this time around, not going to be that carry threat. So there's going to be more weight on Froggen and Keith to have a lot of uptime on their DPS in those team fights. As we already saw, Hard is going to go with the super common Tiamat Titanic build on Rek'Sai, so he'll be adding some there and isn't going to go the full tank, but it is going to mean that Keith will have to shoulder a bit more of that burden.
And there was something to be said about sort of understanding the best champions for your play style. Generally speaking, any given player has a play style they're most comfortable with, they're just better at. And if Hard is not an often ganking type of player, you just give him a Titanic Hydra heavy farm jungle like Rek'Sai, and his play style that he's naturally going towards works better with this kind of champion compared to a Gragas, where like hard pumping a Gragas doesn't mean that much for you, but hard pumping a Rek'Sai, you can maybe 1v5 some team fights.
All right, well, Santorin's going to be the one piloting the Gragas this time around, and he has been a very proactive Gragas.
Yes.
One of the best in the North American LCS this split, actually. Definitely a lot of big plays from him on the champion so far this split, and we will see if he actually directs those more towards the mid lane again, because last time he did direct them towards the mid lane. He got some summoners, but no conversion on the kills, and GBM ended up going down for first blood later anyway. Maybe this game plan changes up, but with Quas showing that he's probably going to build full tank on the Gnar, I wouldn't really care as much about camping that lane early, and with the bottom lane being the Ezreal, probably Karma lane, not a lot of gank setup there, so I would expect, again, attention from junglers probably in the mid lane. Anivia is fairly slow. Does take a long time to kill, though, as she has Egg, and you have to worry about counter ganks.
So interesting situation now for Echo Fox, a much more defensive sort of lineup. We know NRG is running 2 tanks, and the Trundle makes it a little bit less sense overall in the matchup, as both Gragas and Gnar can be the ones to absorb the damage. And it looks like Echo Fox is dead going for Nami, and the Anivia that we knew was left up, that we're not really surprised to see Froggen play. Of course, his fans will be delighted to see him play the champion.
Yeah, honestly, with this Echo Fox lineup, I actually really like going for this strategy, especially when you have someone like Froggen who's so skilled on the Anivia. But I would rather have an AD carry that's a little bit longer range for something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see, though, because on the Lucian, you can always make use of that extra terrain that your team does create and the extra zones you can control. Ah, there we go. This is sick. We get the Froggen Anivia versus the GBM Xerath.
That's wonderful. All right, yeah.
Some iconic champion for those guys.
And once again, actually, Echo Fox does not have the greatest of engage tools. It's a bit better now. You can Rek'Sai tunnel with a Shen on top of you and kind of dive into the backline there, but there's not a lot of ways to access GBM on this Xerath. So much like his Ziggs, he's going to have tons of wave clear tools, and it's up to Echo Fox to find the openings. But this time around, they don't have that gangplank to make all the split push pressure happen because that got banned away. So I think Echo Fox have some less tools here, and NRG get a little bit more comfort for themselves to play very far backline and wait for an opening.
Yeah, I feel like Echo Fox are going to play this one pretty slow as well and just go for farming early. They don't have a whole lot of opportunity here. I mean, GBM on the Xerath, yeah, that is a pretty good target usually, but as always, he's running those double utility summoners, or the double movement summoners.
Right.
And makes it a bit more difficult.
It does, and conversely, of course, you've got a Gnar and a Gragas both great at getting into the back line and messing with somebody, and Froggen's got to be really respectful of what may happen to him when Santorin comes flashing in from the Raptor pit, explosive cast into the team, and now he's just, you know, an egg getting scrambled, essentially, and that can be very threatening here. So we'll see if it changes much. Of course, Echo Fox did take game one in a 40-something minute victory, but a slow and controlled one the whole time. NRG now with some more champions. They are known for some more playmaking on the roster. We'll see if they can pull this one back. Best of 5 LCS spot on the line. Here we go with game 2.
Echo Fox with the 1-game advantage currently, and Infernal Drake will be our first one. So that may spur a little bit more of that early game action because the teams have been so heavily focused on that one. Even though early on, the percentage not going to have an immediate effect, it definitely is great to have in the bank for the mid game.
Yeah, and even the champions, actually, very few are actually stacking raw attack damage or ability power as well.
Yeah. A lot of the tank builders.
First strike. GBM. 100% of all damage to champions this game.
Broken. Yeah, I probably will be watching actually mostly the mid lane this game, while obviously keeping track of the junglers just because of the kind of iconic champions that these two guys are using. And these are probably the only two mid laners where we get this matchup currently.
Anivia versus Xerath?
In the state of the meta, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because they're player specific.
You see some Anivia. She's there occasionally. You're
Very.
not like, oh my god, Anivia, but Xerath is like actually just unique to GBM, I think.
Okay. Well,
Fervor of Battle Shen, that is more uncommon.
So maybe we'll see one of the earlier Wits Ends for the Shen, because that is the one of the few DPS items that we sometimes do see on Shen, because it actually does work really well with his kit.
Yeah.
And usually you don't see him get a DPS item, usually go full tank, but if he does, maybe we'll see that, and that would help out with Froggen damage later on earlier also. Definitely want to start out full tank though.
Yeah.
First item, gotta go tank.
And he's against an AD laner in the first place. If it was like a Maokai, I'd see it maybe, right? But against Gnar, I think you really do need some armor. We are on a lane swap, by the way. KFO able to get XP from 1, XP from 2, XP from... Nope. They pulled aggro. Actually, NRG made the Castlevania's turn back, so KFO only gets XP from 2 of them.
Canceled his auto attack too, didn't get the gold. Meanwhile, Gnar, so much easier for Gnar to grab those last hits, and Quas did get 2 of them with the auto and the boomerang down bottom side.
Yep.
And he's going to take his money and run back into the jungle.
All right, 40 gold lead. And he got experience in the third as well. So overall, Quas just ahead in all respects over KFO. We're probably going to see the teleports to join each other very soon. Looks like KFO actually going to run to make this happen, but we have a teleport, I believe, coming in from Quas.
Yeah,
and
both of them.
KFO will teleport.
Yeah, teleport on the minion, help with your push.
Yep. And it feels like, you know, all the practice that everyone's done.
This Fox push, they gave up a bunch of their minions early. They're really not having a good time with their bottom lane push. I think they push a little bit too... I think it'll even out, but
Yeah,
as of right now, NRG have a huge lead on killing the turret.
Yeah, so they're going to be up, what, maybe 20 to 30 seconds, and we'll see if those 30 seconds turn into something.
And they usually do matter for the team starting on the top side with their duo, because that 30 seconds or whatever can transfer down if you actually opt into the second turret trade as well. So I think in this situation, Fox should probably opt not to go for the second turret trade, because an extra 30 seconds like that would mean the first Drake given away.
Looks like it equalizes, actually, as
Yeah.
NRG weren't able to knock the turret down on the prior wave, so instead it's going to be almost identical. And they're just going to try to thin out their own team's minion waves. Yeah, that turret goes down, but it's basically one auto attack away on the other side. So tempo regained. And it's going to go down as that wave thins out.
Oh yeah, Anivia CSing, baby.
All right, so now we'll see what the choices are. NRG actually going to swap their duo lane down. So instead of rematching their opponents in this one, they are actually doing the second swap. Looks like Echo Fox in the same play here. So again, similar tempo and making the same choices. We should see a second turret trade in the next minute and a half.
Actually, there's an opportunity. Nah, okay. That would be too risky.
Okay.
Anyways, we'll just continue to see more farming in the mid lane. The early back for the tier there for Anivia. Probably going to start stacking that up. Very important for her, because she burns through mana so quickly.
Yeah. It looks like part of what the tempo loss was oftentimes when you're playing Ezreal in a lane swap, you just get the cull on the first recall off the turret going down. It seems like NRG waited long enough they could get tier on Ezreal. That actually requires conscious effort to get that much gold onto the Ezreal. You don't normally get 700 on your first recall, so that was part of why that took so long, is they just needed the gold income to get OQ stacking earlier, and that's the kind of situation we're in right here. Top lane turret taking a lot of damage, of course. OQ gonna stack his tier and push down towards bot, as the respective top lane, side lane solo laners will be joining their duos to knock those outer turrets down.
All right, well, in this case, I actually also value the Infernal Drake more than the Rift Herald, because your Shen is going to have, well, I guess damage reduction is pretty good in that 1 versus 1 too. Meh, I like them both.
Okay.
That's fine. Change my mind.
It's fine. We do that all the time. By the way,
We'll see if they opt into the trade, though.
the Kung Fu movie was Hero with Jet Li. I was not crazy. Sherlock Holmes also had that, but I'm pretty sure it was inspired by Hero, so first dibs, go to Jet Li.
Need some context for people who didn't see the game #1.
Yeah.
Are we just talking random Jet Li movies?
Yeah.
Is he picking up motorcycles and throwing them at people's heads?
That could also be fun. Maybe some Gragas in there, but yeah. Oh, well, you don't get context. Watch game 1 if you want to know what happened. Upping VOD viewership.
Nice.
Yeah. You even know who won. It's up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, spoilers built in. Unlucky. All right, well, looks like we're just going to continue to have mirrored farming as well. Swap back here for the Ezreal, as OQ still stacking up that tier and working on cashing in on the Cull. Now, that's wise, as Lucian right now definitely has a lot more combat power, combat effectiveness purchased at the moment. We'll see if Echo Fox can actually, you know, maneuver Keith.
Uh-oh, Santorin sees big red explosive cask into the combo, into the snipe, into the first blood. Perfectly played gank by NRG. 600 gold to them.
I mean,
you know, Big
risky.
walked in, but the mechanical play was good.
Yeah, that is risky from Big to face check into the river by yourself like that. And yeah, you can blame him. You can also blame the rest of the team. You know, usually it's the jungler plus support holding hands going for those risky wards.
True.
Santorin jumping out to that level 6 though. Huge credit to him on the Gragas, getting level 6 so quickly and then waiting for that face check. I mean, that is just spoon-fed. We talked about this Santorin doing so much for the team.
Uh-oh. Froggen gets stunned. He gets away from one of the ultis and gonna do enough to survive it. Didn't burn his flash, was able to juke properly. Big had rejoined the lane to help him out, and he's gonna fight for some ward control, this time with Hard next to him, so it's gonna be a little bit easier. Kiwikid also roaming towards mid, trying to find where he wants to get control.
Yeah, you gotta be so careful. I mean, especially in lane swap games where the supports are even more under-leveled, you just get killed by anyone on the opposing team if you walk into them. And Nami very squishy. Definitely has a rough time there. Let's see if this actually will turn into anything, though, because oftentimes you'll push hard on this turret and...
Ooh,
oh, he missed!
Flash knockup. He hit the tail of it.
The minion, I think.
I don't think he needed to even hit... Yeah, I think he could have walked in to get the knockup
Yeah,
on Quas. I think
that...
he hit the tail regardless. Either way, Flash a bit wasted, to be honest. But that's going to be... Yeah, okay, very wasted. You know, I've seen clips of GTA 5.
How wasted was that Flash? One beer in, 3 guys in.
I was going to go with, like, hit by a car at full speed in GTA. Like, I was going the other side. But either way, he's respawning at the hospital with all his weapons taken away and down $1,000.
Doesn't matter, though, because he's up 1,000 gold from killing the turret.
Fair point. Yeah, that turret has not been answered by the side of NRG, so summoners used or not, still positive situation there for Echo Fox in the long run, unless that summoner gets somehow punished for more than 800 gold, which is unlikely. And now it's up to KFO to keep his bot lane tier 2 alive. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see their dual lane play for some part of the map right now. Bot lane, not really heavy priority. It's a little bit past the river for Echo Fox. I think NRG are within their rights to fight for this, and you can see Kiwikid getting some wards. He's going to run into Keith. Keith kills the ward. 30 gold, puts a new one down.
Yep, good dash there. You get a little experience, a little gold in your pocket, and you feel great about yourself as well. Remember what Echo Fox gave up for that push, though? Yeah, it looked like Echo Fox just got a pretty free objective. A little bit of a CS discrepancy evolving here between OQ and Keith. Hard's back out down to the Drake, and Keith actually gonna get a lot of that CS back here as the big minion wave down bottom is gonna help out. See if they actually have any fight over this Drake. The Shen Stand United has become available if Hard gets caught.
He smites for movement speed, gets away from most of the CC, still gets hit a little bit, but he will survive the encounter. OQ and Kiwikid both roaming towards mid, so almost, actually every single person on NRG was spotted just now. Santorin fighting hard for control. Actually, Explosive cast him back in, and uh-oh, Hard has to get away through his own jungle. Dodges True Shot Barrage Stand United, helps make sure he's gonna live, and KFO says, all right, there's the shield. I'm gonna walk back to top lane.
Santorin is definitely making his presence felt this game. Started off a little slow last game. Didn't really have too big of an influence, but oh, now GBM!
Had to flash and Ghost. He thought Ghost would be enough. It wasn't. And that's 2 summoners down. And it is a one-on-one. Well played by Froggen. Known for Anivia for years at this point, and showing the mastery there, getting the sums out of his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, even with that first blood going over to GBM, really, here we go.
They had the choice of going mid because of forcing GBM back.
Is available, but GBM, being forced back means Froggen once again earns his team the first Drake.
Yep. From the one-on-one heads-up play, forcing his opponent out of lane, Froggen earned this one. It won't show on the scoreboard. It'll only show on total damage to champions, but that was because of Froggen, and a good call to say, we've got map control, go do this. Well played, Echo Fox, and though they are down a kill, are pretty close in this game, down 400 gold, up that Infernal Drake.
Yeah.
And that will pay itself off later.
The CS for the AD carry, as well as the first blood bonus and jungle farm, are really what where NRG have their advantages at the moment. Meanwhile, Echo Fox continued focus on Drakes.
Yeah. And in fact, there's an unmirrored cull as well in the AD carries. OQ, after getting his tier, picked one up, and Keith has not done that. Mini wave cleared away. Pretty easy for Froggen, doing the standard mana stacking build of Tier Rod of Ages. And now the only objective left to play for that's not a turret is Rift Herald up top, which last game Echo Fox did get onto KFO's Gangplank. With that being banned, he's now playing Shen. Quas has been freezing top lane for a while, by the way. The whole time KFO's running around and fighting everything else, but here comes a flash onto Froggen. A nice bubble on a Kiwikid, though. And Karma, well, everyone caught up to her instead. A nice pickup right there. Big making a great play. Froggen out of summoners, but a kill.
How good was that? Echo Fox using Froggen as bait, knowing that they're going to focus on him over and over in the mid lane. Everybody sitting there in the side bush of the river. Froggen baiting it with both summoners, and they get the counter kill onto Kiwikid. They did use a lot, though. I mean, KFO used teleport to get right back there, and they're still farming all 3 lanes right now, but a lot was used to get that kill.
And think about how hard it's going to be next time. Stand United is up in about 20 seconds right now, so the slow-paced, pick-off one-person game plan, Shen is very good against that style. Ooh, a stun, damage on a Santorin, 1/3 health from the Gragas.
Yeah, done for a good chunk. Every time you force someone off of the map. Gain a little bit of extra vision. Echo Fox with control of all the minion waves at the moment as well. You know, they've been able to stabilize after NRG jumped out to a little bit of a lead in the early game.
Yeah,
first blood goes their way. A little bit of control regained. And it just goes back to that same story we've had all summer of Echo Fox. And people, every once in a while, they feel like they've gotten to the point where they don't have to ban Anivia versus Froggen again. But
and then he plays Anivia.
Yeah, and then oh wow, that's, I mean, I guess that shouldn't have happened because we could probably prevent that next time, right? Some little play that he does, but this pressure that he has in the mid lane.
Yeah.
I guess he had it last game as well anyway with the Malzahar, but
sure.
Keith is going super aggressive.
On to OQ, Forceman Arcane took away, but here comes Santorin. His presence are known, and he's going to be gone. OQ gets the kill with the True Shot Barrage. And that's going to be Keith getting coal for Christmas.
You were able to bide your time, Phreak.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
You waited.
I was waiting.
For 10 minutes after I said the last one.
Yep.
A little inkling in your eye.
It was actually better in my mind. I actually missed part of it, but it was good enough.
That's fine. Brings it full circle there, and NRG do make a counter kill. Keith went super aggressive there, and the reactive play does earn NRG the kill, but pressure on mid lane. GBM comes in to clear at the mid wave. Bottom lane pushed all the way up to the inhibitor turret here for NRG. And Echo Fox, while they've been able to even up the gold, it was... Okay, let's take another look at this. I mean, Keith just straight headlong into the rest of the team. Santorin, another good punish. As we said, his Gragas all split long has been great for the team. And that's where... Oh my God!
The shield and the auto attack. Big gets him with, I think that was Thunderlords, actually.
Splash of water there.
A little splash of water. Looks like Quas is a 1980s video game character.
I was thinking, you know, playing in the little kiddie pool and you're splashing the water in people's face. Some people just get so mad about it. Quas is going to be one of those from now on. But all right, Keith, he was not deterred after that last aggressive move on Lucian. Frontliner here, gets in there, gets him down to what, 10 health, and Big finishes it off. It was a Thunderlords.
Froggen jukes one, jukes two, True Shot Barrage doesn't mean anything to him. Nicely done by Froggen. And even in that replay, Big actually had a super sick bubble, nearly completely predicted the hop path of Quas, but he took it a little bit to the right. Honestly, Big is playing mechanically very well on this Nami. And we'll see if we can get more out of him. Has not cast a tidal wave yet this game.
All right, well, let's see what NRG can do because
oh, we missed the stun on Kiwikid actually.
That would have been a kill too.
Yeah.
If that lands, Kiwikid is dead. Meanwhile, no Froggen to clear the min wave, and NRG get a lot of damage on that turret. Keep your eyes on OQ though. His Cole is about to pop. He's about to come into his own as the blue build Ezreal, and he does have pretty sizable CS lead that he's nurturing here over Keith.
Absolutely. And this could be a good thing for the NRG eSports squad then if OQ can come online. He was definitely very hyped coming into the split. Has had kind of a middling performance, honestly. Been one of the worst performers, but every once in a while you get that, the OQ you saw in the spring split this year or even last year, and when he plays like that, he's one of the very biggest threats on this team. We'll see if it comes out for him again in this one. NRG could definitely use some help. They are slightly down in this match.
Yeah, I mean,
spawning in 6.
I mean, they're down in this series, one game, and that's gonna kind of hold over their heads. But this game is pretty much dead even, and they have the ability to take back a gold lead because Echo Fox with the one extra turret. Yeah, NRG, they take down the last outer, and now they're able to get that 200 gold lead.
Yep.
Morale boost.
It's gonna jump 350. There's 2 stacks left on OQ's Cull. Cloud Drake up as well. We'll see if the teams can reset in time. Froggen getting poked out by GBM. Mid lane cleared first by NRG.
Honestly, this is going to be all determined by the extra vision around the next Drake and who gets the initiation, because Santorin has been catching Echo Fox off guard all game long.
Yeah.
Whether it's Big or Keith or someone, you know, he's punishing. It has come from Santorin's initiation. And Echo Fox, all of their advantages really are earned by the mid lane.
Yep, that's been their play style for pretty much the entire split right here. If we look at this game, you mentioned the next Drake could be played primarily from vision control. And NRG had actually held that control for a while. Keith just now got a Trinket Ward over into the Drake pit to know it's not being taken, but really, EchoFox not able to get in for any meaningful vision control there.
It looks like they want to make a flash play with Shen onto GBM here.
Froggen runs fast, does not get the wall down in time to cut off GBM's retreat path. It does give him priority on mid, but they're actually going to head topside. It's going to be actually them running after the Rift Herald, maybe as a trade against Cloud Drake, or to make them look like they're going for a Rift Herald and instead hoping for a bait.
Yeah. So before we're like, okay, so Shen, yeah, the damage reduction will be good for him in the split push, and it will help him retain that extra pressure in the side lane if EchoFox want to have this 1-4 with the Anivia Froggen pressuring in mid lane and Shen splitting on the sides.
Yeah. Well, EchoFox paid for that Rift Herald with loss of priority in bot lane. Kiwikid gets some wards around. There's a lot of vision now in the side of the jungle, and Oki's going to get several hundred damage in this turret as well, as EchoFox use their members to make sure mid didn't roam to them.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of positioning like they want to collapse, but I would not recommend it because Froggen's getting the blue buff right now, and Anivia is so much a part of this.
Yeah.
Such a big part of this team. He really is core to this rest of the composition right now, allowing even Keith to open up and deal damage because of the amount of zone control that Anivia does provide in those team fights. And so they don't collapse on him, but they do ensure that NRG actually chased off of the dragon rather than
I feel like that should have been
trading
free.
that Drake. They went and pushed the bottom instead of trading for Drake.
That should have been so free, though. You had all this time in the world to ward up the jungle, to make sure you got ward control of the Cloud Drake. You had Keith and Big just showing in the bot lane, killing minions. Froggen's grabbing a blue buff. Quas is priority on top, and then nothing happens. NRG just lets, all right, great, reset the map. Nice Rift Herald, bro. And just the map's back to equal.
Maybe they make amends here as they look for another fight, and Santorin will be the one to start things off. Deep vision down. They want to catch sight. This is actually a pretty good position for the minion waves here for NRG, as Quas is pushing up on top. There's a big one up there. Only problem is he's just timing out of Mega Gnar, so he won't be able to transform for a while, and he's going to have to wait that one off.
All right, here comes the attempted Cloud Drake. That took a while for it. The problem is, though, Hart had taken, actually, the Rift Scuttle, but no one's around to defend this, so delayed, but NRG still does grab the Cloud Drake for themselves. Well played, and that is theirs.
Santorin, or Hard went over to go steal the red instead. He's looking also maybe for a wraparound gank there on Quas, but not able to find it, as Quas backing off after Mega expires. This mid lane turret is about ready to fall over.
Ooh, he actually got the stun on the GBM. And again, the wall not quite there in time. GBM's Ghost helping make sure he's able to run away. Wave clears mid, but that turret is nearly dead, actually. Froggen has warned that structure down.
Oh, this is very early to actually do a Baron. That must be a ping for a Baron bait rather than starting one off at the moment.
You might expect it. Of course, Cloud Drake for NRG means they get to say, oh crap, and rotate around a little bit quicker. Of course, EchoFox have the combat power of the Infernal. We'll see what happens here. Gold is identical. Champion kills, turret kills, number of Drakes taken, all of them the same number right now. See if anything more can happen in this one as Froggen knocks down the mid lane wave one more time. That space is devoid of minions. Hard not going to get explosive cast in. Santorin did not think they had the kill. So he saves the ulti.
Setting up vision though, look at that. Again, all the deep vision is NRG's. NRG have deep wards on both sides of the jungle. They're setting up their plays in advance. They want that extra vision so that Santorin can have the confidence to go for those body slam on the ult plays that you're talking about.
And right now we look at which waves are controlled. GBM is able to clear mid first usually, but it gets answered back. Quas controls bot lane. OQ has to defend. They heavily pushed in top side, so one equal, one Fox favored, one NRG favored. We'll see KFO defend the bot lane soon enough, but off of those recalls by NRG, it's only Santorin who has the ability to defend mid, and we'll see if this wave comes in time. He's going to try to stop it out, but there's the wall, misses the stun, explosive cast, going to knock in Froggen, and here comes Standard A to keep them alive. A great tidal wave hits too. The bubble on a Kiwikid. Santorin, though, nearly goes down, and Keith picks it up. Nicely done, gets the dive. 1 for 0 so far. EchoFox a stun and a Kiwikid. This is a Karma running out of health, trying to run away, and Keith really wants the dive. He's going to make it happen. 3-1-1, having a much better game than yesterday.
Oh yeah, he's having a much better series. Keith was the one who got that quadra in the Baron pit last game as well for Echo Fox. Now he's been on the front lines this whole game. He was punished for it the first time around, but since then, it's been great for Echo Fox. He chases down a couple more kills for himself here, and now he's gonna start really taking off. Echo Fox just with the forward-facing play here. Santorin tried to make the big Gragas initiation for the team under the turret, but it was a little early. Nobody else was around. The teleport just had started channeling. They still had Shen ultimate, and Santorin gets punished so hard on the exit of that play. Even though you see an opportunity, you can't always take it like that if the team isn't there ready to capitalize on it. He had been so good for them all game long setting up plays, but this one, the team just wasn't in position to capitalize on, even if they were communicating it and they were like, yes, we're on the way, ready to make it. They just weren't there in time, and that split second, so much counter damage given off by Keith from Echo Fox. Kills him under the turret, and then they chase down Kiwikid as well. A lot given over there. Up until that point, we were only separated by a few hundred gold.
The turret itself wasn't actually taken just yet.
Still
But Kiwikid, whoa, Kiwikid! Why are you that far into the jungle? I guess they had mid-wave control, to be honest, but still face checks into the fog and gets picked off for it.
And the deep wards that they have, not offering any control. That one cleared out. The next one, all of them now cleared out as well. Another good punish here from Echo Fox's NRG are starting to give up a lot of unnecessary kills. Keith split pushing up on the top side on that Lucian now as well. Feels very confident, has a lot of extra mobility. And Froggen and Fox executing 1-3-1 at the moment. Shen down bottom, trying to apply the pressure now that they do have the lead.
We'll see how much they can get done here. Mid-wave cleared first by Froggen, but GBM, look, he's playing Xerath. This wave is not going to be long for the world. Next Cloud Drake, 1.5 minutes away. 2,000 gold lead for Echo Fox. They're trying to play around Baron a little bit here. Vision control actually Echo Fox favor. There's actually not a lot of good wards in this part of the map for NRG eSports.
Once again, Echo Fox, they press up all three lanes. Now they're the ones trying to retake control of the vision in the game, and it's working. Slowly but surely, getting snowflake after snowflake on this turret.
There we go. It finally gets taken out. 4-3 in turrets now. Echo Fox getting their slow and steady advantages. When Echo Fox wins, the games kind of all look this way, where they're not punished too heavily early on, and they're getting the incremental advantages here. Red buff steal attempt. Keith's in the wings also, but Oki pushes him out. Har doesn't have an angle in. He's going to look for the smite, and actually, that's going to be his. Doesn't even have to smite, just auto-tax it down.
That was honestly.
That is pretty lucky.
A lot of the times we say lucky with air quotes, but
that's actually lucky.
That was actually lucky. And now they're going to shred through the Baron. There's no vision for NRG, and they see people in lanes. Now, because Froggen's in the mid lane there, they don't really suspect it. There's two things there. Yes, you can be more sneaky if your teammates are showing in lane because they're like, oh, they can't be doing Baron. But there's a reason people think you can't be doing Baron because you don't have enough damage.
Sometimes you actually can't do Baron.
Yeah, you don't have enough damage to burn through it very quickly, and they do end up having to cancel that call because they were taking a lot of damage and not dealing much of it.
We just saw one nice interaction that Echo Fox has on their side of the map, which is once you see Xerath pop his ulti, Big could just target him in Tidal Wave. It'll take a while to reach, but at a certain point it will knock up GBM and make him cancel his ultimate. So he doesn't get to cast that for very long as it's an okay angle for Big to cast it on. Now here comes the Ghost, the chase, and the flash knock of GBM. And oh, he goes down. Froggen's Frostbite takes him out in the back half. After the summoners are down, what a great gank. 6-2 no Echo Fox, looking good in game 2.
Uh-oh, now it's going to be the Baron dance again because they have this vision set up. Oh, that sweeper did catch the ward as well. Oh, I didn't finish it off, though. They're going to need to drop the pink as well. All right, let's see about this. GBM down another 25 seconds. He does not have teleport.
Santorin has flash and smite, and there's not a lot of good gatekeeping tools for Echo Fox. They can't really keep him out of the pit. Is going to be Quas, though, cut off on the side, jumping around. Here comes damage on a Big. He's got to be careful. Santorin is nearby. It's a peel off for Baron. Not a lot of permanent damage done. OQ, whoa!
KFO there, a little bit late.
Yeah, OQ flashed as well. He realized he'd overstepped his bounds. A trade of flashes for the two Koreans. And
yeah, I feel like OQ flashed a lot earlier, didn't he?
It seems to be the same cooldown. I think he flashed the same time KFO did to get away from it.
Yeah. Really wanted that one, but regardless, they do stop the Baron. That's what's important. Dragon is going to go over as consolation prize.
All right, here we go. Give me the quick pickup on the Cloud Drake. EchoFox continuing to have map control. NRG had picked up that one earlier, but now EchoFox can match their out-of-combat movement speed, and the Infernal Drake they got earlier continuing to pay better and better as the game goes on. More stats, more happiness for the EchoFox members.
And that's been our story.
Yep.
Slowly but surely. Now there's a big minion wave as well for KFO to stack up on down bottom. He's just going to hold that while the rest of the team effortlessly clears away these minions. And they slowly increase their gold lead.
Santorin able to take the Rift Herald. And uh-oh,
Oh,
we've got Ride of the Arcane going in towards Froggen, but looks like, yep, Tidal Wave stops it out. Big help with that. And Anivia not taking all that much damage. Void Staff now done on that Anivia means a lot of damage. Can definitely cut through Santorin or anyone else who gets in his way. Froggen is online for sure. Xerath and Roa fully stacked. Actual ability power for Froggen, 431. He's a 132 AP above GBM.
Ooh. Everybody's trying to make these mid lane picks, hiding in the shadows. Froggen does have his flash available now as well. GBM is still the prime target. Remember that gank where EchoFox just pulled it off last time? GBM has to play so safe without his flash.
Yep.
Because Hard is going to go straight for him once again. He's the primary target. I mean, Ezreal's the AD carry.
But he's slippery.
Exactly. Ezreal's the AD carry is the reason you got to go for...
oh, I see. The AD
flip.
carry is Ezreal, thus you can't go for the AD carry.
Yeah, got to go for that Xerath. Well, you can. It's just a lot more difficult.
Yeah. You are unlikely to succeed going for the AD carry. Well, pink ward control once again in for EchoFox. The Rift Scuttle is going to despawn soon, and that'll give the vision control away. We'll see if anything more can go for the blue team. Looking once again for the Baron bait. Ooh, the cube actually missed from Kiwikid, so that actually could have been a successful bait. It didn't quite happen, though, on this one. And that's going to be the wall there. But we're also watching a duel on the bot side of the map as KFO and Quas traded blows. And actually, they get the pick off onto Kiwikid. He didn't even flash, actually. He could have flashed over the wall. I guess he thought he could outrun it. We missed it. But either way, bad news bears for the NRG support.
Which is kind of weird because both Anivia stun and the bubble from Nami have a long travel time that are flashable. So I'm not sure what locked Kiwikid down in that situation. But now GBM.
The knock up into the stun. GBM gets too close to the fog of war. And turns out EchoFox in the fog of war. That's a kill picked up for them. 2 down. And now Quas and KFO. You can see actually KFO starting to win that fight.
Yeah, EchoFox are winning all across the map.
Yeah.
And, let's see what OQ can do over here. Maybe he can even this up because
he can ult out. KFO is ulting right now to get away. He's showing up with Froggen. No CC left. Explosive Cask means nothing except to let Santorin live, but that means for sure that's going to be EchoFox getting themselves a Baron buff unless True Shot Barrage steals it, but OQ doesn't even cast it. You might as well press R.
I mean, it's blind, and they don't really have any idea what health the Baron was at.
No downside to casting it, though.
I mean, you don't have it for...
Oh, come on. You know everyone should cast that ulti right there.
All right, let's take a look what happened.
He just thought he'd juke it into the bubble. And Big steals another kill.
You thought wrong, my friend.
Big has the second most kills on EchoFox this game. See, there's True Shot Barrage.
See, he couldn't have done that.
Great! What a sick True Shot Barrage.
Man, that was very rough there for NRG, though, as EchoFox's control of the top quadrant of the jungle with that pink ward allowed for Santorin to have a very easy tunnel over the wall onto that flashless Xerath we talked about. And if that knockup lands, the reason you're going for Xerath instead of Ezreal, easy layering there as Froggen was able to land a stun on top of it and plenty of damage. GBM just had no chance there. Like we said, he has to play so safe. You can't even stand near walls if you don't have vision on the other side. You really have to be super paranoid if you're playing a mid lane champion without their own escapes like that and no summoners available. Now he does have his flash, so he'll try and burn that one to get out of the next EchoFox move. But EchoFox, again, eerily similar to last game where they've been stacking up fairly slowly here. But now with Baron, things should ramp up as they should be able to easily take these outer turrets and start to apply their pressure towards inhibitors. And
here we go. A step to that means tier 2, but problem for Echofox is GVM's already cleared that wave out, so nothing to be added just yet at Santorin with a couple of barrels, making sure nothing scary happens. Quick Banshee's Veil actually picked up for Froggen, but the Luden's Echo trigger actually knocked the Banshee's Veil off. He was disrespectful of the barrel, actually. But look at the control they've got. Misses the taunt flash, actually. Kfo gets no CC now. Hard gonna get locked up. 1,000,000 damage onto him. CC layered on him like a Photoshop file. He's gonna go down now. It's onto the bubble. Hits Quasi's mini. Gets stunned up. He's gonna get hit up, but still survives. Kfo misses his second taunt of the fight, actually. No Froggen coming out of the Shen. Now out of energy. And speaking of energy, though, they're running in for the kill. Quick dodge zone buys a bit of time. Run to the arcade. Can't quite kill him off. Kfo able to slink away with his life. It's only the 1-for-0. True shot barrage. Hits people. False. No one going down to this one. 1-for-0, energy with the lead.
I like that. Does every statement you make follow it up with true or false? Oh, there's
no! Q goes in, loses a lot of health. Summoner teleport coming back in. KFO decides, I don't want to be part of the fight after all.
AD carry on the front line. False, he's out of there. Healing splash backward. Back to the fountain. My goodness.
All right, well, mid-tier 2 did go down in Echofox's favor. Froggen, whoa, on the chase! And he picks off GBM, and suddenly it's going bad to worse. A wall, Quas trying to run, another chase in for Keith, 4-1 and 3 for the Lucian. And look at this, a 9,000 gold lead for Echofox, looking to make it a 2-0 start.
It's getting a little bit messy, but Echofox are cleaning it up after the fact. Pick up 2 more kills. The solo laners are down for energy, and they'll be pushing in on inhibitor turret.
Looking good. Both solo laners are dead. This shouldn't be an easy defense by any stretch of the imagination. Energy just throwing out some poke from the back line as the inhibitor turret is dead. The inhibitor itself going to drop out, and under 35 minutes, Echofox have cracked well into the base, and now they have their safe retreat, and they can fight again after this cloud drain.
They are... Ooh.
Now this is low health. Quas no TP though, and GVM is still dead. I don't think...
I mean, yeah. The solo laners aren't going to get there, so it's...
Yeah, I think we can't fight this.
Kiwikid's even Big was even recalling there, so... Not even worried about it, as there's nothing on the field for energy to take.
Yeah, Echofox are actually able to clear the mid lane wave away before anything even happened, so there was no counterattack available. Bot and top lane able to get sniped out.
And this is just pure Froggen Anivia. Gets the long-range Q stun on GBM, who is trying to harass for himself. Keith, as we've said, has been on the front line with the Lucian. Very, very forward. And there's not a lot of risk there going in on the mini Gnar that only has Hex Drinker as an offensive item.
And Xerath's already dead. Yeah, it works out just fine for him. KFO holding strong in the tank. Only 1 assist. It's been more to save people than kill people. But he's doing his job. He doesn't need to be the hard carry here. Froggen's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Keith doing plenty as well. And Big with some, honestly, very good skill shot accuracy. I really like how Big's been playing on this Nami. OQ walled off. Arcane shifts. Look at the damage he takes.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is.
I looked at it.
434, or 734, I should say.
And,
look at my frostbites. My frostbites are amazing.
Just tag him with it a little bit. Now it should be pretty easy for Echofox, honestly, as they close in the 1-4. Pressing up again. Shen's got alone time with the turret. That bottom lane turret is taking some chunks out of it right now. He's got the Rift Herald buff still on him. Slowly but surely, Echofox destroying NRG's defenses. And now it's got to be... It has to be a desperation move from NRG. They don't have their AD carry, though.
They get the explosive cast. Froggen's going to get CC, but the actual stun misses from Xerath, and Standing Netta keeps him alive anyway. Body slam stops some of the taunt. Bubble hits on a Quas, but it just means damage to the turret, and a hip turret is gone. Hard running low on health, though, down to 1,000 and change. A nice culling makes energy run away, though, and Keith is unafraid the entire time. Top inhibitor will be going down. Well played again. Echofox finding the fight well enough for them. No kills, but enough to make energy retreat and give away 2/3 of their inhibitors.
Yeah, the struggles of energy over this season. Now they've really come up against the wall, and even though they have been making efforts to create some small picks, they're never really able to get more than just a couple of kills out of any one play. Santorin had a couple of good ones early on as Gragas, but eventually just too many people getting caught out. The vision lapses for NRG, and Echo Fox have been able to take it slow and steady. Huge advantages for Echo Fox, mostly centered around the middle of the map. I have to say, these GBM picks, while they're really exciting, you know, to see some variation. Oh, there you go.
Okay, gets away, other side of the wall, but Keith's on the chase. Can't quite get him though. Dodges the stun, fighting Quas with the Guardian Angel on. Actually, Shen in the back line finally picked up the kill onto Santorin. Quas still being chased out by Keith. A double kill actually for KFO on the other side of this fight as he's pushing OQ back to his base. A bubble lands in a GBM into the taunt, into the assassination. Not quite. KFO running out of health. He dodges away and he's gonna survive. Yes, Kobe, the death was false. He stayed alive. Now it's time for Right of the Arcade, and KFO, he's gonna get away from it just barely. On to the Nexus turrets, only 2 alive for NRG. And Echo Fox gonna make this series a 2-0 start. Truly the opening they wanted here, hoping to make it back into the LCS. As the Nexus falls, one more game will put Echo Fox in the 2017 Spring Split LCS.
They are definitely making a good case for it here. Starting off 2-0, they can almost touch it. And NRG, they really need to fix something here. These GBM picks, while yeah, it's cool to see Ziggs and Xerath played, they're not having an impact in the game.
Yeah.
They're not really doing much at all.
They're slowly losing.
Exactly.
We're not seeing any forward motion from this squad. Even though you got this early first blood, Santorin right at level 6, picks off big, gets the kill over the assist with GBM. We don't see anything happen. They're just sitting there, wave clearing back and forth. And guess what? This is Echo Fox's game. They love wave clearing back and forth and waiting for 30 minutes.
Exactly. The criticisms for this series for NRG are some of the similar ones we previously had for Echo Fox. You know, the lack of proactive plays, the lack of, you know, setting up the plays with these, you know, deep incursions for vision.
Yeah.
But NRG, yeah, definitely have to refocus here. Down 0-2 means this is make or break.
So NRG had 4-0 Echo Fox from the regular season, now 0-2 in the series. We're going to send it back to Ezreal and Co. Let's talk about that victory.
Thank you very much, Phreak. And yeah, what is going on here for Echo Fox? There was the 4-0 from NRG during the season, and now these guys have just kind of found carry from different positions, and it seems almost easy for them. Don't report.
They're playing great. Yeah. I mean, what else to say? They're looking a lot better, I think. Across the board, they're playing a lot better. Even big, you know, on Nami, you know, Phreak was calling it out. He was actually hitting a lot of his bubbles and stuff. He was playing quite well for himself. So I think they're getting a lot of contributions from their big players, you know, from Froggen, from Keith, and KFO has been doing well, but getting the extra contribution from some of their guys who have been, you know, lacking a little bit more is really what's putting them over the edge and making them look pretty dominant.
Over the edge, dominant, and replays just like this. We'll start right at the end of the game where it was, again, Echo Fox bearing down on NRG and running straight to the base.
Yeah, and this was a fight that was started by Froggen once again finding a pick, and they're able to follow it up and take down Santorin, and now they are all just piling in. Keith just charging forward, takes down Quas, proccing that GA, and they all fall apart once their front line collapses. And you know, Quas has not been going kind of these threatening, damaging builds. KFO even barely able to survive there, and Fox has just done a great job here to kind of follow up on that pick.
They get the fights they want every time. We can see it seems like NRG has a bit of miscommunication within their teleports. Quas is always very far away. At times, we were talking, don't go into the fog. The entire map was unwarded. I think there's a movie about fog being deadly. Like, it applies, same thing here. Yeah. And we're seeing these teams kind of go in without anything on the map and making very risky plays, which is just benefiting Echo Fox and their confidence currently.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, to your point about vision, there's so many times throughout the game where Froggen was able to just be hiding in a bush, hiding in fog of war, right around the corner. He has a ward, and he's catching people nonstop with these Anivia stuns, with these walls. You know, key picks, allowing them to get bare and allowing them to close out the game. And you know, he had been massive for the team throughout the whole time.
And looking at another replay in 22 minutes into this one, you can see that what NRG tries to do continues to kind of just get thrown back in.
Yeah, and I mean, Santorin, he wants to make something happen, and it's a great initiation if the team was there, but they're not, right? So there's no follow-up, unfortunately, and Santorin's the one who actually goes down, and we can see Froggen once again catching Kiwikid, and he was doing so much damage. Keith able to eventually chase down and get a couple more kills here, but this was really kind of the story of the game was, anything that NRG really tried seemed to kind of go wrong.
Right.
And Santorin was doing great for them in the early game, putting on a lot of pressure. He
really
got them
was.
some early kills. And once again, this initiation would have been great had his team been there, but you need to have the coordination. You had talked about it. Quas was TPing in, so they wanted to go for this, but he was TPing in so far away. They didn't have a ward close enough, and had he been in there a little bit faster right when that initiation happens, it could have looked great. But it's these small misses that end up being big disadvantages.
And we saw NRG just on the screen there a second ago talking with the coaching staff. They have decided to go blue side this time, so it is going to be a switch up. NRG will have that chance to kind of see the composition they get to go against, but also get that first pick. It's been interesting to see this already. Echo Fox, the way they've come out, they've been able to, I guess you could say, tie up NRG's time. So NRG's playing very reactively. They can't seem to even get their foot in the door to make a play themselves.
Yeah.
And we remember Santorin, Kiwikid, these guys were ones to initiate a lot of the fights, and they're not getting the champions to do so.
Yeah, and I feel like some of it is stylistic, some of it is champion stuff. Like I do find it strange, like, when I watch Quas play, I feel like when he's playing aggressive stuff that can take over, can make outplays and stuff, like when he's on Jax and whatnot, it looks great. And Gnar can do that, but Gnar cannot do that with this build. I mean, he started this game and he's building in 3 different directions. He has a Hex Drinker, a Cowl, and a Giant Spell, right? And
it feels kind of good to be that guy with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you got a little MR, you got a little
there.
HP and stuff, but to me, it's like Shen is a matchup where he can bully it, and especially with this kind of weird build, or rather masteries that KFO had taken. He was going Fervor, which if you just go Frozen Mallet and then Black Cleaver and you just stay in lane, you're just autoing this guy. He has less sustain, he has less defensive talents, he doesn't have the grasp for kind of like the chunk back, and he's never actually going to be able to stack up Fervor, so Fervor would have been useless, and I think he could have even abused that more than you would normally be able to. So I was just a little bit disappointed that he's not actually going for those kind of builds and trying to bully lane, trying to create advantages for himself, because when I think Quas is shining is when he is doing that, when he's making the 1v1 outplays, when he's doing these sorts of things. And this was a matchup that was gifted to him, and he makes nothing of it.
And we actually kind of see a few of the plays with communication being a problem in our next replay here, 33 or so minutes in, where NRG is able to grab something, but Fox still gets more.
Yeah, and Fox, they go in, it's a whiff on the taunt flash, GVM kind of anticipating, stepping to the side, and it's hard that goes down off the bat here, but the backline is still healthy, and Keith is getting so much damage out here. Froggen constantly getting that damage out, and KFO was just this rock in the front. They're really struggling to ever get through him, and as they start to pile in forward, Fox is able to get that return damage. Quas is getting really chunk low. Now Santorin is really low, and still Keith is relatively healthy. Froggen is very healthy here, and walling off GVM, looking for those kills. The fight does continue, and they are eventually able to get something back.
And we do see kind of a bright spot in these fights is OQ being on the front line, although you're Ezreal and you're kind of a magician of escaping, has been doing quite a bit in these fights, adding damage, adding possibilities for NRG rather to get into these fights. So I say try to match up that 2v2. Don't let Keith get as far as he can get in these games with safety.
And this is actually, I'm actually really disappointed. When I saw this happen, I didn't realize that Froggen was standing on a ward. So GVM actually saw him there and just walked in and ate the stun anyway. So that is really bad.
It's kind of, I can take this, and then you just get overpowered anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, just not respecting it. The fact that you're slowed down when you're charging up that Xerath Q as well, he couldn't actually reactively move out, but that's a pretty huge mistake to die like that, giving those 2 kills back. But yeah, to your point about OQ, I thought he actually had some really nice mechanical plays throughout the game. He was reactively flashing taunt flashes, which is, if you flash and taunt, the best players can kind of react, but it's supposed to be, if you taunt flash, there's supposed to be no reaction time, right? And he was still able to do that. He was playing very aggressively, and he wasn't dying, which is key, right? He was able to try to make these plays. Obviously, it didn't really work out for his team, but this has been kind of a worrying theme for GBM is in a lot of the games, he's getting caught out. He's putting himself in bad positions. In their series yesterday, there were some key fights where even in games where they're winning, he's on Victor, he's walking through a Rek'Sai, through a Twitch, things like that, and he's sometimes just tunnel visioning a little bit too much on what he thinks is going to happen. It's like he has it visualized in his head. This is how the fight's going to go. But it doesn't work out that way, and he ends up dying.
I actually feel like that's something that plagues both of these teams from time to time, and Echo Fox is actually able to put that on the back burner today, and now we're seeing 2-0. NRG has their backs up against the wall. We're going to go ahead and take a quick program break, but stick with us. When we return, Echo Fox completes the sweep, or NRG pushes the series forward. You won't want to miss it.
Leave Anivia open. Would you actually play it? They left it up. I will stomp them.
Flash onto Froggen, a nice bubble on a Kiwikid though, and Karma, well, everyone caught up to her instead.
Careful, ult me, ult me.
Ult it.
We can fight, we can fight.
I'm calling Gragas.
You can go, you can go.
Gragas is no flash, Gragas no flash. Back,
Karma.
Okay, I'm coming.
So now here comes the ghost, the chase, and the flash knock of GBM. Oh, he goes down. Froggen's frostbite takes him out in the back half. Froggen, whoa, on the chase, and he picks off GBM, and suddenly it's going bad to worse. A wall. Quas trying to run, another chase in for Keith. One more game will put Echo Fox in the 2017 Spring Split LCS.